All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is to do the player ratings from that horrendous game yesterday, West Ham versus Arsenal, where they beat us 1-0. Joining me to review the game a little bit, but also to mark the players out of 10 is Kenny Ken. Say hello to the people, Kenny.
Hello, guys. Like I said, I'm still hurting by the defeat. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't watch match of the day. I only just saw the Premier League highlights, and even Spurs losing hasn't cheered me up. That's how this. When Arsenal lose, it really, really, really ruins your weekend.
It does,
I don't
doesn't
think
it?
people understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Only Arsenal fans could get that. Where
That
you
is
don't want to
true.
watch match of the day, you don't want to do anything. It's just like, just puts a down on the whole weekend. And also joining us today is Sam. Say hello to the people, Sam.
Evening, everyone. Evening.
All right. So let's get into the game. Sam, what was your take on yesterday's performance? Just before we go into the player ratings.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite optimistic with yesterday's game. I thought a week off would do us quite well. I thought we'd go into the game, we'd start off well. We hadn't played midweek. We'd look fit, we'd look sharp, but it was completely the opposite. It reminded me of a performance that we'd get off our previous manager, just slow, dull, just massive mistakes all over the pitch from everyone. There was no leadership on the pitch. It was a really, really, really poor performance yesterday. I was just gobsmacked. I thought the first sort of 15, 20 minutes we didn't start off too bad, and then they just sort of grew into the game. You could see from there. You could see them. The longer the game went, the more they fancied it yesterday, and the more that they could sort of see they were going to get something from the game. And we just looked out of ideas. We looked tired. We looked lethargic. We were, as I said, really, really poor. I was like Kenny's just said. It ruins my weekend. I've had a really, really bad weekend. And it was. I was going to go to the game yesterday, and I'm sort of, in a way, I'm bloody glad that I didn't, because I'd have been tearing up the place afterwards. It was just terrible. It was just a really, really piss poor performance, and just one that I never thought we'd sort of see again. After the manager left, I thought we'd get it. I thought we'd got over this shit, but obviously not.
And I completely agree with everything you just said. Kenny Ken, I think everybody, and if you haven't, please go watch it. Everybody should have saw Kenny Ken's AFTV's epic rant yesterday. You're clearly very angry of yesterday's game. Kind of the day after the night before. How do you feel on it now? Now that you've reflected it, probably had a chance to see a couple of the highlights if there were any. What do you think generally?
The thing about the situation at West Ham is that everyone knows that West Ham are going to be up for this game. They were going to put the effort in. Their players that could hurt us. Their players like everyone knew that Mikel Antonio was going to use his pace down our right hand side. We all knew that Anderson's a strong runner. We knew that the fact that Arnautovic is going to get the support from the players. We all knew that. We knew that because it's Arsenal, because we turn them over we turn them over quite regularly, and they haven't beaten us for quite a while. They're going to be up for it. We knew that. Declan Rice is going to bite into the tackles. Mike Noble, who's a West Ham through and through, is going to be up for this game. Everyone knew that. But what we knew is that if we matched West Ham for effort and work rate, then we could have beaten West Ham. And that's what really, really, really made me angry. It was the two strikers really made me very angry. It's not a case of being disappointed, it made me angry. Because their lack of work rate, movement was a disgrace. They started sulking in the second half because things weren't going their way. They weren't getting things. They weren't working hard. Everyone, gets angry with me when I question his work rate and I question the fact that whether he's a elite striker or not. I know he's got 14 goals. I know he's equal to Harry Kane and Salah. But the thing about Harry Kane, although De Gea had a world year today, and the thing about Salah is that if they get one chance, they put it away. A bad man has to do that. Lacazette yesterday was a disgrace as well as concerned. First half, he was, But it was the way they react, is the way they let the goal itself. There were 3 or 4 mistakes before that goal in it, but it was the corner routine. West Ham have a corner. Both those players didn't react when the ball bounced. They had 2 chances to clear the ball, either hack it or run with the ball. They stood and stopped, and then what's happened is that West Ham got in front of them. And even when Anderson puts that crossover, again, Lacazette is non-existent there. He gets on the byline, puts the chances. Xhaka, who I forgot to mention when I was angry, like I said, was woeful. But hang on here. People need to not think about the last thirds of play. You have to think about phases 2 and 3. And on waves 1 and 2, those 2 strikers didn't help us there. But if you look at the free kick itself, the free kick was caused because we gave the ball away. West Ham get the free kick. They react quickly.
Yeah.
Was it Xhaka who gave the ball away?
I think it was Mustafi. Was it Mustafi who gave the free kick away? Which led to the corner.
That's the thing. But the thing, you think about it, right? The reason why that free kick was caused is because we gave the ball away in midfield.
Yeah, we did.
So if we get the ball away in midfield, Anderson's ready to go, right? Mustafi's left in no man's land. So what he has to do is that he can't afford to let Anderson go past him. So he fouls him. That's all right. It's a bad foul because what's happened now is that West Ham react quickly when they get the free kick. So react again. Like I said, Creswell puts a cross in. We clear it. We think everything's all right. The corner routine goes in. The 2 strikers, doesn't matter whether it's not their job. It's simple football. You play school teams in the first level at schools, or your representative sides in your local districts, or even when you played at university sides or played them non-league. You know that if it's your man, you clear it because you don't want the crosser coming. They do neither. And that's when they react. But is other aspects as well. After West Ham scores, there's no urgency to try and get an equaliser. We only started to react. They scored in the 49th minute. We only see probably the 66th or 67th minute. And that coincided with Ramsby coming on. Iwobi worked hard. But again, the only time he'd seemed to show any sort of urgency was probably the last 5 minutes.
True.
That's not how you play another derby. It's not good enough. And then you've got all the people who say, well, Mesut Ozil would have made a difference. Really? Would he really made a difference? Is it a coincidence that every London derby away from home he's played, he's been subbed? Hence the fact that in games where teams are going to have runners, Nuno Emery doesn't select him. Who's at fault there? Is it the player or the manager? It's no good saying that we need his creativity. But hang on here. What about the games he's played? No one seems to address that. They always shirk that. They never talk about Brighton in the first half when he was non-existent, when he was right taken off. They talk about the fact that we didn't create anything in the second half. But he started the first half. He did nothing. Crystal Palace away. We got overrun in midfield. He got substituted. But because Crystal Palace equalised afterwards, it was Emery's fault.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are fans of Mesut Ozil are ignorant of the facts. They are tuned or the real reason and the footballing reasons why that's that. It is not a personality clash. It is footballing reasons. Any manager would do that. Poch would leave him out. Guardiola won't accept it. Klopp won't accept it. So why does Unai Emery have to accept it?
Do you know, I sometimes I sit here and I think to myself, there must be more to it. And I feel like part of me feels like it may not even be Emery's decision. Maybe there are some bonuses or some sort of financial reward for Ozil to play a certain amount of games. And perhaps we're trying to avoid paying that. So maybe Emery's forced to leave him out the squad sometimes. No one's ever really thought about that. But I feel like that could be a high possibility because it does seem strange that Ozil would declare himself fit and ready to go, and then he's nowhere to be found. Emery's really cagey about answering any questions about Ozil. So it makes me think maybe there's something more to this. I don't know what you boys think. What do you think, Sam?
I'll be honest, mate. I'm sick and tired of it. You know, we've had God knows how many years of Wenger in, Wenger out. That was the thing, and now it's this. And I don't know. I'm sick of it all. We need a solution. We can't let this rumble on for another 6 months, another year, another 18 months. You know, if we're going to get rid of him, or if he doesn't want to stay, or if he does want to stay, you know, we've got to make a decision. If the manager, we're going to stick with the manager. If he doesn't think he's good enough, we need to get rid of him. It's as simple as that. My personal opinion on Ozil is there's no doubt in his football ability, but he is a luxury player in a role that doesn't exist anymore, especially with the way our manager wants to play. Wants to play a formation where, you know, you've got quick runners and quick and strong, and who will track back and who'll work hard. He just doesn't fit into that mold. He's just not that. He's just not that type of player. You know, he's a real. You're not going to go. He's not going to play in the big games away. He's not going to. He's not. We all last year we played him, and the year before, and ever since we bought him to make the difference in the big games. And not one game has he ever made a big difference. And people can stat this, stat that, but that only tells you part of the story. You need to look at attributes of every single attribute, not just passing, assists, or goal. You know, his work rate, his heart, his leadership. You know, he's on, and I will keep pulling back to it because it is important. He's on £350,000 a week. That's £18 million a year, or whatever it is. That is an incredible amount of money. Now, you know, on a business sense, your top, your CEO would be on the top money. You wouldn't get a player. You wouldn't get, you know, like you wouldn't get a fucking labourer on 350 grand a week, and he'll turn up when he wants, and he'll be the best bloke in the whole of the company one week, and then he'll be crap the next. It just doesn't work like that. He is being paid way too much money for what we need and what we ask. And as I said, if the manager doesn't want him, and if we're all, you know, all this crap, we just need to get rid of it, because it's becoming a massive issue for the club again. I think it's affecting everyone. I really feel as if it is.
And that's the thing. It's funny you should say that, because Alex in the chat room has just said a point which I don't even understand what his overall point is, and that is that Ozil didn't give himself £350,000 a week. He asked for it.
Yeah.
But let's be real here. He asked for it, and yes, don't get it twisted. He has every right to ask for it, absolutely. But by that same token, once he's then given it, he should then produce the work that shows that he is an elite player and deserves that money, which is the very point. That's why people always revert to the money, because it's the same way that if I buy something from Tesco, I don't expect it to be the same quality as something that I buy from Waitrose. It's as simple as that. If I'm paying the money according to Tesco and paying the money according to Waitrose, I'm expecting something better from Waitrose. I apologize to my non-UK listeners who don't understand that comparison. But it's a simple taste of, if I pay more for something, I expect the very best. I don't expect sit notes. I don't expect. It's like I tweeted yesterday. Effectively, we're paying £350,000 a week for this boy to work from home. That's basically all I can see. That's my issue with it. That's why I always get annoyed when someone says, "Oh, well, why do you always have to bring up money when you talk about Ozil?" Because
it is relevant. It is relevant.
Yeah,
you know, he wanted that money, and someone who wanted that money, we would expect to perform week in and week out, or to turn up and not make soft. You know, what's the buzzword at the minute? You know, snowflakey. Oh, I've hurt my back. I've got a sickness. Like all the time off he had when he was with Wenger, he used to get. There was I think I ran this through with you last time I was on, Chig. He was well renowned within the Arsenal group as being teacher's pet. He'd speak to Wenger and, I want extra time off. I want this off. What kind of a man would want to let their team down? You know, if I was the leader of that group, everyone in that club should be looking up at Ozil, and they should be, bloody hell, here's Meza. He's an unbelievable player. 100% earns his money. He's well worth it. He'll get stuck in. He'll help us out when we really need him. He is not that. He is not that player. He is not that man. He is an absolute luxury that we just can't afford to have. It's as simple as that. We're not good enough for a start to carry someone like that. And secondly, the manager has clearly worked him out after 3 or 4 months. And that's the bottom line. And it's got to be one way or another. But I think, we've got to get behind this manager. We've got to get behind these players because they're going to need us. Because what I've seen this afternoon, and for the past few weeks, we aren't good enough to compete at the top level at the moment. And that's just the way it is. And we've all got to be realistic and think, we're going to have a real battle on our hands for fourth now. Man United have won this afternoon. They're level on points with us now. I think 2-3 weeks ago, we was about 11 points ahead of them.
Yeah, we were laughing at them.
Yeah, football can change quickly. Don't get me wrong. And we can get over that. But we need to get behind everyone. We need, like he came out in the week, Emery, and said we can only make loan decisions. That's like deflated, the whole club, like even the players. I think that's why that's a certain reason why I think it was a bit of a drab performance yesterday because they're like expecting people to come in and they're just like, no one's going to come in and help us. Like we got to do it with this and. Mezit's not nowhere to be seen because he's a fucking arsehole and he don't care. It's just poor, mate. It's real shit being an Arsenal fan at the minute after so much positivity at the start of the season.
Yeah, I must admit, see for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, Kenny Can. My criticism of Emre wasn't so much about Mesut Ozil not playing because I don't think Mesut would have made much of a difference yesterday. I think it was more about some of the other decisions that he made. Like I didn't understand Torreira not playing that game. I didn't understand Hector not starting that game as well. Just things like that. Having said that, my faith in Emre is not rocked. It's just certain things I'm not quite understanding. I understand that, not with every manager. Some managers take some time to get it right. I remember with Pep, when Pep first came into City, they started doubting him. They were wondering if he was a fraud and all this nonsense. And you could see Pep's flying. Klopp, the same thing. Klopp took a whole season and people were questioning him the whole season. And it took him some time to get it right. So I think he'll get there. But we just need to show faith. I don't want to see all this Emre out nonsense. What do you think?
Well, the thing about it is, one thing we need to set right is that I understand the situation. I understand the chagrin about Torreira. But again, the manager, one of the things Emery does is he analyses his performances. He analyses his players as well. And he analyses the opposition as well. Now, no one can say that Torreira is not a fantastic player. He hasn't been a fantastic to the football club. However, Torreira, in his last few games, has not been at the level of the earlier games.
Yeah,
he was poor against Liverpool. He was, like I said, he was kamikaze. Liverpool overrun us in games. Wasn't so much Guendouzi. A lot of it was down to Torreira. It's easy to blame Xhaka for making poor passes, but the fact of the matter is, you look at Liverpool's second goal and how they were able to go through us through the knife of the bar. Now, a lot of that was that position. Now, in a big game like that, Torreira's being a bit careless. He also struggled a bit against pressure. Look at the situation. Is he off form or is he a player? It's a bit of both. So he's left him out. And what's happening now is that his go-to man is Guendouzi because, yes, Guendouzi hasn't got the quality of Torreira. He hasn't got the sort of temperament. He hasn't got the experience. But what Guendouzi is doing is that he's giving him a situation. He's giving him work rate. He isn't standing out as such. He is worth his place in the side. Plus another thing as well, he's got unlimited energy. You have to understand that when you play in the French league, the transition from French football to the Premiership is seamless. It's not the same when you come from the Bundesliga or La Liga in Spain or Serie A. And that's one of the things he's looking at. I do agree with that decision. It probably didn't work out because what will happen is that because of Xhaka's wasteliness in the middle, and the fact that Torreira wasn't Guendouzi wasn't up to it. Rice and like I said, Noble got in amongst Guendouzi. Didn't get because they saw that what was happening is that for some reason yesterday when Xhaka was not at his best, Guendouzi was taking that mantle of not just tracking back, he was trying to create something as well. So West Ham identified this guy as a player to create the chances for their strikers and get the ball forward. So they got in amongst him, and that's when he did bring Torreira on. But again, Torreira worked hard, he tried, but he didn't really make that much of a difference. In terms of like the Emery out, again, people are showing their true colours now. They are really showing their true colours. No matter how much you tell an Arsenal fan to be patient, that it's a 4-year deal, the fact of the matter is they genuinely believe, because we're a big club and we have that the Arsenal name is going to be enough for us to challenge the league. Because they don't understand that the teams above us have better quality than us. Spurs are better than us. They have quality. Even when they were losing today, they displayed their quality. They attacked in numbers. They created chances. De Gea made saves. Oh, yes, some of those chances went straight at De Gea, but they made chances. Man United are now showing the true selves. You know that they're a man team with multi-million-pound players, an £80 million striker on the bench. You know what I mean? That is the money and the options that Man United. Remember, Fred was on the bench as well. He didn't get on. They spent £52 million on him. That's what we're up against. Man City's quality is self-explanatory, and you can say the same of Liverpool. They're a level above all the rest of them. Then you've got Chelsea as well with Sarri, where they are in transition, but he has managed quickly because he's got quality players. He's got a good defence with experience. He's able to a situation where they're ahead of us. So for Unai Emery to even get us in a situation where we're even talking about getting the top 4, he's overachieved. He has really overachieved. That 22 much unbeaten one, yes, there were games that we should have won anyway, but in terms of that, he has overachieved, and because of that, he's raised expectations because the situation under Arsene Wenger was dire. We were saying that Wenger couldn't coach, that the players couldn't defend under Wenger, that they had the same sort of attitude. But the fact of the matter is that you cannot change a mentality overnight.
Yeah, you're right.
You are going to give the existing players time, because at the end of the day, he has not even got a style of play yet. He wants to play 4-3-3, but because of the defence, sometimes he has to play a back 5. But he is trying to devise a style of play for the players he has. And if people cannot see that, then they need to look at it again and rewatch our matches. I'm not going to criticise it because it's their supporters' experience. They've got every right to support Arsenal as much as they like. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yes,
do you know what I think as well? Do you know what I think as well, Kenny? I don't think he knows what his best team is at the minute as well. You know.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think
I agree with you, Sam.
We've had a lot of injuries. I think Rob Holding going off injured was a big blow. I think he's maybe had players back from injury who he's not seen in training and not had a real good gauge of that. I think he's maybe thinking, well, yeah, cool, not as good as maybe I thought they were. I think he's maybe got players maybe like Ozil, all the talent in the world, but when he's actually with him day to day and he realises what he can do, maybe he's thinking, he's brilliant, but doesn't sort of fit into my sort of team. I genuinely, because he does change his team about a lot, doesn't he? He never, he changes it all. Like we were playing Lacazette and Aubameyang up front on the year, and then we stopped playing it. Now he's put them back together. Iwobi's been out of the team. Yeah, I know through form and other bits and pieces, and he's put, he's tried out different systems. I genuinely don't think he's got the players at the minute who he believes can take us forward massively and who could, take us to that next level. I think I think it's obvious that we're short anyway, but I think we've wasted so much money on bang average players over the past 2 or 3 years that it's really biting us in the arse now. Really, really biting us in the arse.
100%. You're right, Sam. And the fact of the matter is that that's the same situation that Pochettino had at Tottenham.
Yeah.
You look at the Spurs side. when he went there in 2014, he had players like Chadley, not good enough. He had Andy Boyd that he had to move on. He had Soldado, where he was the main striker before Harry Kane. A lot of his midfield and spine weren't up to the level. He had to slowly get players that he needs and keep the players that he thinks are going to keep on. If you look at the players that have survived under Pochettino, Kane is broadly brought aside. Ericsson survived. Lamella, he's been in and out, but he's kind of survived. Vertonghen survived. Lloris survived. You know, like I said, probably like Danny Rose, he's turned out to get a player. But quite a lot of other players haven't survived under thing. It's the same with Klopp. When he first you look at Liverpool under Klopp. That side, if you look at that side in 2015 to 2016, they got to Europa League final 2016 and got to the Carling Cup final. That is nowhere near the side they have now.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Guardiola when he first went there. Remember, he played Claudio Bravo in goal.
Yeah.
He had players like Ben Michaelis, you know, he had Otamendi, you know, he didn't have Cole Walker at right back. He didn't have the left back. He didn't have a left back. He didn't have a Mendy at left back.
Yeah.
Like I said, he had to get his own ideas across, and it's going to have to take time. We've seen if you give these kind of managers time, it will work.
Yeah.
Pochettino hasn't had the money that we had and all the The reason why we are having loan deals is because of FIFA, is FFP. Simple as. It's not to do, and that is a lot of that is because we've overspent in our budget because of the players that are on high wages, who you clearly state, and I agree 100%, are not good enough. You've got players coming to the end of the contract. That's going to end now. There's about 3 or 4 players who are going to be out anyway, and then there's going to be other players going to be outed. So slowly, what Unai needs to do, he needs to work on that spine. My advice to Unai, he doesn't have to take my advice. Obviously, you know me, I like defending. I like defensive organisation. Start from the back and work your way up.
Would you
Would
you keep this shape?
What's that?
Would you keep this shape that we're playing at the moment?
The shape?
Yeah.
I think what's happened is that I generally believe that Unai Emery is to certain players who will survive. He likes Iwobi. Let's not forget about it. Whether you think about Iwobi, he likes him. He likes Mkhitaryan. So he'll survive. Rob Holding will get a chance. He like Guendo's is his man. Torreira is his man. Xhaka has to be worried about his place. Mesut Ozil has to be completely worried about that.
Yeah.
Mustafi needs to probably buck his ideas up. Socrates will be safe.
Yeah.
Bellerin's safe.
Yeah.
Down the left-hand side, he's got a problem. He's not sure about Kolasinac. Monreal is probably too old for him. So
I think Monreal. I think he likes Monreal. Just can't depend on him.
Yeah.
Can't depend on him. He's got to look at the goalkeeping situation as well. No matter 100%. What people say, we haven't got a number one yet.
100%. I agree with you completely.
So,
me and Lee said
these are areas. Leno, despite what people say about Leno, he's not top class. He's another, as far as I'm concerned, he's another Loris Karius in the making and another David Baines. Both 100%. Great shot stoppers, but their decision making and their organisation and leadership skills have to be in question. That's Emery's blueprint. It's a 4-year deal. It's going to take time. But the problem we're going to have, because we're human beings and we're football fans, if he loses against Chelsea and we go out the FA Cup, oh my God, I don't even have to say no more. You know what's going to come his way. The pressure, the criticism is going to be unbearable on a man.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get into the kind of player ratings for the players who played yesterday, and it might give us an indication of how poor they were yesterday. Let's start with Bernd Leno in goal. What would you give him out of 10? Let's start with you, Sam.
I don't think he did anything wrong yesterday, if I'm honest with you. The goal really just don't matter if bloody De Gea was in goal today. I don't think he could have done. I'd give him a 6. I don't think he did anything wrong. I thought his distribution was all right. I don't really remember him making any sort of saves that of note or anything like that. It was a bit of a bit of a bland. So I'd go with a 6, to be honest. 5, 6. Like, I don't think there was anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong for me yesterday, anyway.
Yeah, Kenny Can.
Agree with Sam 100%. The lad, like I said, his distribution was fair. He didn't have much to do, and like I said, in that respect, I've got to give him a 6.
No, I would agree. I know the chat room are saying 5. Shout out to YouTube, and Archie. I'm going to go with 6 as well. I think that would be the mark I'd go with. Let's go with Socrates in defense. Do you think he had a good game yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I thought he was our best defender yesterday. Again. Can't remember him doing anything much right. Can't remember him doing much wrong. I'd give him a 6. It was just it was an okay performance.
Okay. You, Kenny Can? What do you reckon? Socrates. Kenny Can? Uh-oh. Is he gone?
Is he gone?
For me, I'll give Socrates again. He didn't do much wrong. He, like I said, he cleared his lines very well. I'll definitely give Socrates a 6 as well.
Yeah, I'd give Socrates a 6 as well. I'll go first with Mustafi. I thought Mustafi was all right until he came off. I know Lee thought he was the best one out of the 3 central defenders. Shout out to him. I know he is, or at least was, in the chat room. I think I personally would give Mustafi a 5. Didn't think he did much right or wrong yesterday. I know that seems to be the theme of the central defenders, but yeah, it's true. I thought he was a 5. What would you say for Mustafi, Kenny Can?
I think he's dropped out.
Has he dropped out?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go to you in the meantime.
Yeah, I'd say 5, mate, as well. I'd agree. It's really difficult to sort of judge the defence yesterday because I didn't feel there was under that much pressure. But I don't think they was brilliant in dealing with everything that came at them. So I'd give him a 5, mate. To be honest, I'm not his biggest fan, if I'm honest with you. I think a 5 would be satisfactory for him yesterday.
Yeah, well, don't get me started, mate. I also I'm not his biggest fan myself, but I must admit I think he's been okay of late, and I just think he's just dealing with a lot of injury problems. We're almost having to rush him back from a lot of injuries because of our need for central defenders at the moment. But I'd give him a 5. Kenny, I can see your back. What would you say for Mustafi's performance yesterday out of 10?
Who are you talking about?
Mustafi.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, Mustafi. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Mustafi. Go away the free kick. Like I said, apart from that, he didn't do much wrong. Like I said, I wasn't happy with his leadership qualities. I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah? Yeah. I think so. I think 5 is fair for all of us. All right. How about we go with Koscielny? Let's go with you, Sam. What do you think for Koscielny?
This is where it's going to start getting interesting. I think I'd give him a 1 for yesterday. Honestly, I would. I'm being serious.
I agree. I thought he was poor yesterday. I really did.
He's been a fantastic player for us. And there's no way in a million years he's a captain of our football club or a captain. And he's at best he's a right hand man. He's not a leader. I don't care what anyone says. The way he handles himself on the pitch, he walks around, his body. He's not a captain. He's not vocal enough for a captain. And yesterday was a day where we needed a leader. We needed someone to step up and take the game by the scruff of the neck and lead the troops forward and do something and get us out of the shit that we were in. And I thought he was just non-existent. At one point yesterday, I thought he'd gone off. one point. I was that. I didn't even realise he was still. Didn't even realise he was still there. And
me too. I did that same double take. I was like,
I was like,
came off. Was it
has he gone off? Has I been through and he's been subbed? Honestly, I genuinely, if is his contract up at the end of the year, I think it is. Isn't it?
It is.
I'm hoping that's the goodbye, arrivederci, good night, Vienna. See you later. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Because we can't carry him. And the injuries have killed him over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I don't think he's fit, if I'm honest. So for me, he gets a 1.
Okay. Before I come on to Kenny Ken, big shout out to Michael Hernandez, who sent over a $4.99 donation in appreciation of the fact that I have Kenny Ken on. So he's a big Kenny Ken. So thank you for that, Michael. Kenny Ken, what would you say for Kashani?
I'll say this. Since that man has come back from injury, our defensive problems have stemmed from his return to our back four. There's no doubt whatsoever. The correlation is the relation. You look at Southampton away. Since that man has coming, he has been a calamity. We have tried everything to protect him. We played a free. We even played a free yesterday to protect him. And the fact of the matter is, there's no doubt whatsoever he is causing confusion, disorganisation. He is not lifting the players like anything. He tries to lead by example, and he's leading poorly by example. So for me, I agree with Sam. I'll be a bit more generous than Sam. I'll give him a 2 for yesterday because again, he just spreads chaos and panic. And I think it's time for us. It's time for Unai Emery to get him out now, get him out of the defence. I know he's a club catcher. I know he's got the experience, but the legs are gone. The legs are gone.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, definitely.
To me, he's finished as a player, and even at his best, he always had a calamitous mistake in him. And like you say, there is an obvious correlation between him and returning. And don't get me wrong, not that like our defense was solid at the start of the season, but now it just looks like they look like they don't know each other. So to me, I'll give him a 1 just for causing so much chaos in our defense these days. But yeah, I completely agree. Let's go with Kolasinac for yesterday. This really does split people, his performance yesterday. What would you say, Sam, for it?
Again, I had to check to see if he was still playing at one point yesterday. I thought he was poor. Worst game I've seen him play for us for a good few weeks, to be honest. I'd give him sort of like a 4. Nothing greater than that. But again, I can't remember anything he did. Like, I can, as we go further down the list, you sort of remember, yeah, he did that. He was good here. He was good there. It was just a really subpar performance, a real poor game. It's just, we can't really. It is what it is. He's just 4 for me. He was poor, I thought.
See what I'm saying? Even in the chat room, you got people saying the Kolasinac was a 6. Some think he was a 3. Some think he was a 4. It's really a divisive discussion. What do you think, Kenny Ken? Because you were there yesterday. Did you see Kolasinac make much of a difference in the game yesterday?
Not at all. He was. There was in the first. If you look at the game, the first 15 minutes, I thought we were dominant. We were getting at West Ham, but after that, it was awful. And it was one of the problems as well. Is that going out the left hand side and attacking way, he was just non-existent, absolutely non-existent, especially in the second half. There was no options whatsoever. There were times where Iwobi would get the ball and he went, "Where is my mate? Where is my mate?" He wasn't there. You know what I mean? And in terms of like defensively, he wasn't all that either. I have to say that if you are going to persist with Kolasinac, you've got to play with a back 3. But I'm sorry, you can't always play a back 3 in that game. He's clearly not a left back. I know people are going to say that in the Bundesliga he was the best player by but as we all know, there is a difference between the levels of fitness for the Bundesliga and our leagues whatsoever. And on that basis, for what I saw yesterday, I'm sorry, that's a 4, man, and that's being generous. That's really being generous because he was.
I think he's been really poor.
I could be worse.
A signing for us. I think he's been poor. I was expecting big things from him. I think he's been really, really poor since he's joined us, and that and I just don't. Can we find a better left winger out there for what we're paying him? Is it worth trying to get 15, 20 million for him and getting someone else in? I think it's definitely worth it. I don't rate him at all. At all.
I agree. I think he has been really disappointing since we got him. Like you say, especially when you heard that you were getting a defender from the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
You think, okay, wow. Considering Alaba is in the German league, I'm expecting amazing things with this guy, and I'm yet to be consistently impressed. I think the one game I thought where I saw him and I thought, okay, that's the best game I've seen him have in an Arsenal shirt. Was I think Liverpool at home this season. But aside from that, I've not seen anything that makes me think he's a great player. To me, I just think at best next season you're the number 2 left back at best.
Yeah.
And you'd be lucky to still be at the club if I had anything to do with it, because he's one of the highest wage earners as well. And if we are trying to get rid of some of these high wages out of the club, he would be near the top of that list. Just a quick shout out to Monidu, another one who's given me a donation. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right wing back. How do you think he played, Kenny Cam?
Who's that?
Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
You mention the name again, please. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll tell you one thing, right? He was one of the problems when we go down the right. Before, because if you look at it, he was actually in a 50-50 tackle. I don't know whether it was with Creswell or with Anderson. And he was, and as in about the 20th minute, he was hobbling afterwards. And after that, he was a calamity. It was an absolute calamity. Where especially like it was Unai, that's when I should have been a bit critical of Unai Emery, where I thought that half time, if he was going to make a substitution, it would have been Maitland-Niles, because he was part of the problem. Yeah. Especially in the first half when we're going forward, and even in the second half, he offered nothing at all. He offered no option when Ramsey came on, and a lot of that was the fact that I think he had a bit of a knock. He tried to run it off, but I'm sorry, man. Yeah, one of the things we needed from our players, especially in terms of creativity, we need their right wing backs or right wings, whatever they are, to get down the right and give our striker supply. And I think from 15 minutes onwards, Maitland-Niles was abysmal. So I'm going to give him a 3. He was really, really poor. That's probably one of the poorest games I've seen him have. And I'm not going to chastise him too much, because he is being played out of position. And he is trying to help his team out by showing a bit of his versatility. But again, if he does want to make it big, especially at a club like Arsenal, he has to be looking more into midfield, because he's not a right back at all.
Yeah, 100%. I'm bless him, because you can see that he's trying to almost reassure the manager that, look, maybe you don't see me as a central midfielder, but I can adapt to this position. And I think that's where the interview came from, that, he'd be a good right winger. But I don't see it. I honestly, I don't see it. I thought he was poor yesterday. And bar one player that we're going to come on to, I thought he's the worst player on the pitch. So I'll give him a 2 out of 10. I really did. I thought he was really bad. Sorry, Sam. What have you say on Ainsley Maitland-Niles?
I totally agree, mate. I think, I'll be honest with you, I'll give him a 3, and he'll get the 3 points, because I don't think it was his fault. He's not a right wing back. He's not a right wing. He's not a right winger. It's not his fault. He's playing out of position. He's doing a job for the team, but it's just not suited to him at all. He's not got the attributes to do it. Yeah, he's quite powerful. He's got a good engine on him, but he's just not. He's never played there. You can see he's never played there since he was 10 years old. He's never played right wing. He's a central midfield player, and I'm sure we'll come on to a certain individual in a minute. I was disappointed that he stayed on and Maitland-Niles didn't go
over to his position.
Go into his position in central midfield and sort of, give him a go there. We couldn't have got any worse, but, I'd give him a 3. I thought, I'm disappointed for him, because, we all love to see these Arsenal lads that come through the ranks play for us. That's what I'm not saying we're ever going to get to 11 players out there, but it's nice to have 3 or 4, 5, 6 even in the squad that are there or thereabouts, and know what it means to the fans. They're Arsenal boys. We want them to do well, and well disappointed for him yesterday because he looked badly out of his depth, badly.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, let's talk about the central midfield. We can't put it off any longer. Granit Xhaka, Kenny Cam. I don't actually know what you think about Granit Xhaka, so let me.
Granit Xhaka
on Granit.
We talk about.
Hello.
Oh God, Granit Xhaka. Where do we start? The guy is running. I'm running out of patience for that man now. I've really run out of patience. I can see why he plays in the side. I can see why Arsene Wenger bought him. Because he's a deep line midfielder and he's got good. Someone sent me a stat since Granit Xhaka's come to the Premiership play for a time. The most errors, leading up with goals come from that man. And it can't go on. Yeah. This really can't go on. He gives us a lot. On paper, that man a lot of balance in midfield in terms of he does like I said, has a passing range which enables the wing backs to kind of bomb forward and bomb forward down his flanks and then create chances for our players. He also can, like I said, give the ball and feed the ball to Iwobi as well, so he can run at our players. However, the good, the bad is outweighing the good. And yesterday, he was a disgrace. He was an absolute disgrace.
He's gone. It was that bad. He made Kenny Ken go.
Oh, did he? Oh, God. Kenny and his internet problems, I tell you. He'll be back, God. No doubt. What would you have given Granit Xhaka?
Oh, mate, honestly, I'm quite a big fan of his, to be honest with you. I've been a bit of a Granit Xhaka's he'd be good for us, blah, blah, blah. But he is really, really becoming difficult to sort of defend and sort of support and get behind. How many times do you give someone a chance to prove everyone wrong before you think to yourself, yeah, it's just not working, mate, we've got to do something else. I think I'm at that point with him now where, I think we're going to have to make a decision with him very soon, whether we're going to persevere with it and try and work on him and try and put these errors out, or we're going to go and or we're just going to get rid of him. I'm badly on the fence with it at the minute, I'll be honest with you. But yesterday, he was absolutely fucking dreadful. It was literally the worst performance I can ever remember from an Arsenal player for as long as I can remember. And that's God's honest truth. He just didn't do anything right. His passing range weren't there. His tackling was shit. His movement, he is not mobile. And to play the formation and the way we want to play, to have a central midfielder who can't run, in effect, it's just not happening. But I'd never done before by me. He's getting 0.
Oh, wow.
He's getting no marks at all.
I must admit, I would also give him a 0. I normally give players for turning up, but you know what? He would have done us more of a favour if he had.
Yeah, if he didn't turn up. Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, I just man. To me, I must admit, I've never been a big Granit Xhaka fan. I'll be honest. I've always been a little bit salty with the fact that we opted to not buy Kante and buy this guy. So he's never really had the best start with me, I must admit. But then I thought to myself, all right, we've made this investment. Wenger don't like spending. I mentioned his name. The previous manager, there's a pound in the swear box. The previous manager doesn't like parting with money at the best of times, or so we thought. So I thought if he's made such a big outlay for Granit Xhaka, maybe perhaps there's something to this kid. And I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't see it. And for me, 0-0. Oh no, 0. So yeah, Granit Xhaka, I'll give him a 0. Right. Let's go with Guendouzi, because I know we did touch on this earlier with Kenny Ken when we were talking about his performance. What did you think of his performance yesterday?
He's very mobile. I don't think he offers much in the attacking sense. He's not too bad on the ball. I think he does lack a little bit of composure from time to time. But it's difficult. I think he's going to be one of these that kind of like splits everyone, to be honest. I think some people will think he played all right and some people think he played poor. Was he as bad at Granit Xhaka and Koscielny? No. Was he as bad as Maitland-Niles? No. Was he as good as Socrates? No. So I'd stick him in at like 4, to be honest. It was another game where it was just a bit of a. I think the game for our central midfield too passed us by massively. I don't know if it's the way West Ham played or we couldn't get control of the game, but their midfield too were way, way better than ours, and that is a piss take as far as I'm concerned.
I was going to ask, just coming back to Xhaka, because obviously you're more of a fan than, say, certainly me.
Yeah.
Karen Russell, who's a friend of the show, asked an interesting question, and that is, do you think Xhaka, the only way we can get a decent performance out of him? She didn't quite ask as brutally as I'm going to ask, by the way. But do you think the only way we're going to get a decent performance out of him is if he plays next to Torreira and Torreira only? And is that in itself a really massive handicap, that this guy can only play with one player?
I think it's the type of player. I don't think it's Torreira for how brilliant he is. I think it's the dirty side of the game and the way he passes the ball. Do you know, I think to get the best out of Granit Xhaka, I think we would need to play 2 players, one like Maitland-Niles and one like Torreira, and then one like Xhaka just floating behind, picking the ball up, spraying it about a bit. I think that, because then that would take away his responsibility of defending, of movement, of anything that, you know, other than what he's good at. You know, if you made him do all the best parts of his game, I think he'd be a real asset. But he makes too many mistakes at the moment. Even with Torreira next to him, he's making too many mistakes every game. I think fucking hell, he's got a chance, he's got a gift for them in him, and that's just the way I think everyone else looks at him. So yes, I think he does need someone like that next to him, but it's difficult because I can see something in him, but you know, how long do we persist with it? Like I said, do we keep going, or is it a time where we just think, yeah, we've got to do something different because it's not working?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Kenny Ken, what do you think about Guendouzi?
Guendouzi is the only one who showed any passion yesterday. He's the only person who's worked hard. But the thing with Guendouzi is that he's made the transition from French football to English football in terms of a physical sense, in terms of his fitness, quite well. But we're asking a lot from a 19-year-old lad to solve the problems of what's gone wrong previously before. Unai Emery has given him a lot of responsibility. He's given him a lot of game time. He's probably ahead of schedule in his development, but that's only because of the fact that Unai Emery can't find anyone else to play in that 3. He needs them. He knows that he's actually doing it, I think, for Granit Xhaka. He's doing it to give Granit Xhaka some sort of protection, because of the fact that Granit Xhaka isn't a runner. He would have looked at Granit Xhaka's performances last year, where on an defensive side, teams were identifying him as the slowest midfielder. So what was happening is that they'll pressing him out of the game, and then they'll run him past him, and like I said, and running past it and creating attacks through Xhaka. So what Guendouzi and then Torreira itself, they give Granit that sort of protection. But in terms of Guendouzi, because, you know, like I said, we haven't got Santi Carvalho, we're asking him and Torreira to take turns in trying to be creative as well, where Xhaka isn't able to do that because he's a deep line midfielder. So on yesterday's performance, I think West Ham identified Guendouzi as not not so much a weak link, but as the sort of person who's going to get us forward a bit, you know, be the sort of hub in midfield, the boss in midfield. And I think in the first half, he played well-ish. Second half, he got pressed out of the game. And I agree with Sam. I do think that you know, like I said, his people are going to be divided about how he played. For me, I'll give him a 7, 6, not 7, because I genuinely believe that his work rate and the fact that he was up for the game kind of overshadows his actual performance. For me, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Right, let's ask this next player to Sam, because I know initially when he was watching the game, he frustrated the hell out of him, and that is Alex Iwobi. What would you give Alex Iwobi out of 10 yesterday?
I think I was tweeting out a few frustrated comments and after the game as well, but having sort of reflected a little bit and taken a bit more of the emotion out of it, I think he was definitely up there with our better players in the end. I'd give him a 6 for yesterday for pure determination and work rate. I said to you before, I think he's so strong on the ball. I can't remember many times where players sort of cleanly tackle him when he's sort of dribbling or he's protecting the ball. He's really good with that side of it. If there's one thing that frustrates me about him, it's his end product and his final ball. He's really, really, really got to work on that to sort of, you know, for me, cement himself in that team where he's down for creation. He's down to sort of make goals and score goals. You know, if that's one thing that lets him down where he needs to really improve on, then that'd be that. But as far as work rate and putting a shift in and doing the right things in the dirty side of the game, he was definitely up there. But I know he's 22, and I know, you know, he's going to get better, but he's got to get better quickly if he wants to play week in and week out. He's got to get better a lot. Well, he's got to get better now. He's really, really got to start focusing and getting there for us, because we, you know, at the end of the day, we need him, don't we?
So. Agreed. And to be fair to you, Sam, he did frustrate yesterday. There was one chance he had that was
he should have
a one-on-one chance. And I thought, come on, man. I know it's your left foot, but you should be able to score that.
Even toe poke it with his right, just toe poke it or whatever.
Yeah. I must admit, he did. He was taking his finishing just needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
But I thought what I liked about him. By the way, I didn't give my own Guendouzi mark. I'd give him a 3. But with Alex Iwobi, for me, I just liked the fact that he was the only one that his first instinct was, you know what, I'll pass it backwards, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. I like the fact that he got the ball and took players on, and it was at least trying. So for me, I think a 6 is a very fair mark. So yeah, 6 out of 10. But like Dan in the chat room says, my man needs to work on his final ball and his finishing. And if he can do that, it'll be a half decent player. But it's just he needs to just calm down when it comes to that last bit.
He gets a bit excited, doesn't he? I think he does get excited. He does need to sort of take a little breath before he maybe makes a decision. But it's stuff that can be worked on. There's no two ways about it. I mean, he can pass, he can do a lot. He's there. He's almost there, but it's just frustrating, isn't it? Because we can't wait for players. We need them to be ready now, and that's just where we are as a club, aren't we? We've just not got the luxury of bedding the young lads in and letting them breathe and letting them make mistakes in little bits and pieces. We need them to be ready now and do the business now.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Kenny Ken, what would you say for Alex Iwobi?
You know what? He really defies opinion. For me, I don't think he's done too badly. But because of his experience and the fact that he's played his full season in the team, you expect a bit more. You expect more 100%. Consistency. You expect more goals, and you expect more of a leadership role. You always get the feeling when you watch Alex Iwobi play that he's trying to find his feet. Now, with the experience in amount of games, he must have played at least nearly 100 appearances in the first team, in the Premiership at least. You have to expect a bit more. Yesterday, he wasn't too bad. I can see why Unai Emery plays him, because if he's going to play the 4-3-3 with this group of players, he's a runner, and he gives their players some sort of the forwards some sort of support, and he actually gets them into the game. But yesterday, parts of the first half I wasn't happy with. Towards the end, when he does show some urgency, he is effective, and that's a problem. Alex Iwobi, he has to show urgency for 90 minutes. You know what I mean? And he has to be on his game for 90 minutes, because I can see the frustrations there. Sometimes when he's not awake enough. Like sometimes when we're in a sort of defensive situation, he doesn't pick up a man. He just runs. And sometimes when he runs around, he doesn't look. Like I said, he doesn't know what he's doing sometimes. However, there are situations where the players ain't hoping him yesterday. I don't think Lacazette and Aubameyang helped Iwobi. There were situations when Iwobi did have the ball, and he was looking around. He said, where are you two? Where are you two? I've got the ball. I'm in space. You guys weren't you two making a run? So you can't really blame for that. He was the one who actually had that chance, where, like I said, obviously, I would have liked to have worked the goalkeeper, but he did get in behind West Ham. Even towards the end, he was trying to get behind him. So it's going to be very harsh to give him anything lower than a 6 for me, because he didn't really do that bad. And he wasn't as if he didn't show any. It wasn't as if he didn't show any passion or work rate, because he did that as well.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And funny enough, I kind of agree with Josh Gunner in the chat room, who basically said that Iwobi is an excellent impact player. I think coming into if Iwobi had come into that game, I think I think he would have been West Ham's worst nightmare. Trying to defend that lead, and he just got some young guy running at you with pace and no strength. I think he would have made an impact in that game had he come on. But when he starts games, it's just I'm not going to. Someone who wants him to do really well, it's just a bit painful sometimes, because he works well in 20-minute doses. I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. He does. That's true. He does do that. He flitters in and out of the game, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a really accurate observation by Josh. Shout out to Josh. Okay, let's talk about the damn strikers. Alex Lacazette. I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed for Lacazette. I've been banging on for ages about how if we can just start him, he will ignite Aubameyang. He will bring the best out of him. He's a better all-round player. And yesterday he turned out just an anonymous performance. To me, I'll give him a 2 out of 10. I was so disappointed. 2 out of 10. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I'd agree, mate, to be honest with you. I'd give him a 3. I totally agree with you. He was so disappointing. In a game like that, you'd expect him to come out all guns blazing. He missed a couple of chances that on another day he might have finished. I think he really struggled. They're quite big and athletic at the back, and I think he sort of struggled a little bit, because I don't feel he had enough support and enough with his partner in crime, who I'm sure we'll come on to in a minute. But I thought he worked quite hard. He held the ball up quite well, but I think he just struggled a little bit yesterday, like most of the team. I think we lacked a little bit. We probably lacked a little bit of support for him. He probably didn't get the ball to him quick enough. He was a very frustrated figure in the second half. I sort of noticed a lot of the time he was flinging arms in the air, and I've never seen that from him before. I've never seen him been so sort of downhearted and frustrated and like pissed off that normally I see him miss a few chances or miss a chance, then the next one he's bang, it's in the back of the net. Yeah. Where he was really, really, really. I think he was disappointed in himself as well. I think more than anything else. But yeah, very disappointed with him yesterday. I thought he'd be our match winner yesterday, but obviously it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, gutted for him. So I'd give him a 3 as well.
Yeah, Kenny Can.
Completely disappointed with him. I expect more from him from that. He's got fantastic ability. He's clearly a better footballer and a better all-round striker than Aubameyang. But I'm sorry, man.
Yes.
When we needed him most, it wasn't a chance he missed in the first half. It was his own run movement afterwards. It was just awful.
Yeah.
But let's forget. Let's just if we could just like leave out his part in West Ham's winner. It's the it was the sulking. He didn't give the player the option. You know, I said he's meant to be showing in my memory and saying, right, even though Aubameyang has scored more goals than me, I'm a better player than him. But it seems like the fact that Unai Emery's probably put him on the bench and substitutes him, it's like it's affecting his confidence or affecting his how do I say it, his utility or his attitude, because his attitude stank yesterday. It was just awful. He didn't give Iwobi any options. He didn't give the midfield any options. They're getting slated because especially Iwobi, because he didn't do this and do that. But when the guy is trying to look for an option, when Ramsey is coming on the bench and trying to midfield, and you and your partner not runs and not putting the effort and putting the work rate in, then it's not going to work. For me, I'm going to give you a 2 because that's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
And I haven't. It's probably the first time I've ever had to have a go at Lacazette in that sort of way and be disappointed. I'm really, really disappointed that it wasn't just a performance, it was just the attitude and the work desire. It was non-existent. It was really poor, and it wasn't befitting of an Arsenal player for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people in the chat room are saying, you know, that he had no service. To me, I remember Lacazette having at least 2 to 3 chances.
He had 3 good chances
where he should have buried at least one of them. A striker of his quality it's all. This is the thing that kind of gets on my nerves sometimes because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking to anyone specifically in the chat room. This is just general consensus. When Mesut Ozil does not play, and then the strikers play shit, they never had service. When Ozil plays shit, and the striker still doesn't do anything, what is the excuse then? You know, at some point you have to say to yourself, all right, well, Mesut Ozil can't always be there. I need to be able to find a way to adapt. That's what I expect a world-class caliber striker to do. And both of them had chances, and they all missed. Both of them missed. You know, if Welbeck had missed, we'd be slating him. If it had been Iwobi that was missing those chances, we'd be slating him. So why should I give a pass to And I love Lacazette. Anyone who watches the channel knows Lacazette. I prefer Lacazette in some ways to Aubameyang, right? So I love Lacazette, but I was so disappointed watching him yesterday. And I think it was the sulking. The sulking was pissing me off.
Yeah.
Because I thought if you could put half of that energy you're putting into sulking to actually trying to create a chance or dropping off or doing the things you normally do to be able to try and score a game, we might be in this thing. And that was what was so disappointing to me. So that's just my opinion. I don't know. It's my opinion. Let's talk about Aubameyang. Let's go with you, Kenny Can. What do you think about Aubameyang? Is he there? Is he dropping off?
He's dropping off, I think.
He's dropping off.
Yeah.
Let's go with you, Sam. What do you think about Aubameyang?
I know this might be a bit controversial, but I'm going to lay into him a bit, to be honest with you.
Is he there? Is he dropping off?
He's dropping off, I think.
He's dropping off.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm back.
I didn't realize the delay was so bad. Flipping heck.
So what's happening is that I'm dropping in and off, but I can hear you because I've got the TV on. You're on my TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's happening in terms of Aubameyang? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Aubameyang. What would you give Aubameyang in turn?
1. Pathetic. Worse than Lacazette. He's meant to be, he is showing to me why he will never ever be an elite striker. I've got people who are experts on the Bundesliga in Germany, and one of the things they did say about Aubameyang is that yes, he does score a lot of goals, but he needs 3 or 4 chances before he gets a goal. And I'm sorry, yesterday proved that. In a game like that, where you're a big club, you're not playing well, you need a striker to put that away, even work the goalkeeper. You can't do that. He's been doing it once too often for my liking. Once too often. Because you go back to Southampton, he's done it again. Brighton, again. Fulham, he needs 3 or 4 chances with his guys. If he put the chances away that he has missed, we're talking 25 goals already by this Christmas. He's breaking records. But I overlooked that. If there is this great. And yesterday, come on, it was pathetic. The first half was just complete nonsense. Absolute waste of time. Waste of time. But you accept that because maybe you think, all right, we're going to be second half Arsenal. But in the second half, it was awful. Really awful. It was just as bad as Lacazette in that he wasn't giving Ramsey an option when Ramsey come on. He didn't give Iwobi an option, and then they're going to get slated because of their performances. Yet their strikers didn't help them. Yeah. And for me, Aubameyang sulked around. I'm losing patience with him. I'm really losing patience with him because we know we're an ordinary side and we know we're not a great side, which means when you do get the chances, you got to put them away. And then with your pace and the fact that you got some very good footballing ability, you've got to work hard in this league to get the goals. No one's going to just put in a plate for you. Your work rate has to be better than yesterday, especially in London Derby against West Ham. For me, that's just an unacceptable performance. Unacceptable. And quite disgraceful, really.
Wow. How about you, Sam?
Well, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I'll be totally honest. I've lost it with him as of yesterday. 100% lost it with him. Like Kenny says, I've been saying it for a few weeks now. He does need 2 or 3 chances to sort of get his scope sorted, get his sort of feeling of the pitch and the ball and everything else. But yesterday, oh my God, mate, I was going mad at the screen. He was just not trying. He's no effort. He wasn't moving. He didn't look bothered. He really, really, really disappointed me yesterday, and I think he needs to be taken out of the team for a bit. I really do. I don't think he's at the level required. And again, I'm going to go back on what Kenny said. He's showing that why he isn't a top elite striker. Because yes, he scores loads of goals, but he needs 2 or 3 to score. And what else does he actually do? He doesn't link up play, doesn't assist, he doesn't. I think it's almost like he's lost a yard of pace as well. He doesn't look as quick.
Yeah, Lisa.
I don't know if he's still injured or he's carrying injury and he's trying to fight through it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. He's not even like a real physical man. He's just. Yesterday was. I was disappointed with the whole thing, but he will get a 0, the same as Xhaka, because them two I've quite stuck up for in the past and been real big fans of. I'm on the fence with Xhaka. I think I'm pretty close to saying that he's not good enough. But yesterday, mate, honestly, Aubameyang was a disgrace, mate, to that Arsenal shirt yesterday. Really, real piss poor, bad performance, I thought, from him.
It's funny, because people will look at this and watch this and think, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Isn't he top scorer? But
I know, that's what I mean, yeah.
You have to see past tap-ins and goals and look at the overall performance. And when you need one of your supposed world-class strikers to step up and think and lead from the front, you look at someone like Aubameyang. Because the one thing I'll say, as much as I can't stand Spurs, right? Harry Kane is that guy for Spurs. He's that guy. When they're in a tight spot, all right, it didn't work so well today, but generally, when they're in a tight spot and they're playing a game, they're playing a game where you would expect Spurs to win, and they need a goal from somewhere. 9 times out of 10, Kane's going to do something.
But that's where you let him off, don't you? If Aubameyang had one bad game in 10, or scored 10 goals in 5 games and then had a bit of a shitter, that's fine. But he's been a bit poor for a few weeks, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's not been scoring. I honestly think there's something. I think he might be carrying an injury or something because he just doesn't seem as quick. He's not working as hard. He's not. He doesn't seem as bubbly on the pitch like he normally is. He's been really poor, really poor.
Do you know, funny enough, it's like Mike Adams says, to be fair, he's 29. Maybe age is starting to catch up in terms of his speed. And that's where I think a lot of his how he relies on his goals
reactions.
Through his speed.
Yeah.
And I think once that starts to go, you're looking at a pretty, as bad as this is going to sound, and I know people are going to hate on me for saying this, but you're looking at a basic striker when you take away his speed, because he relies on it so much. And that's where I think Lacazette's a better all-round striker, because even when Lacazette loses that yard of pace, I think he has more of a footballing brain than Aubameyang, in my opinion, in my view. To me, I also have said for about 4 or 5 months that Aubameyang misses at least one golden chance a game, at least. And I'm glad people are starting to see that now. I kind of accept that because he does score goals, but now he's not even scoring goals when we need him to. So I'm starting to get pissed off with him as well. For me, I'd give him a 2. So I'd give him a 2 out of 10. Just very quickly before we come to the manager, let's talk about the substitutes. So Aaron Ramsey, Sam?
Give him a 6, mate, for yesterday. I thought he come on, he looked quite bright. He tried to do things. He tried to make things happen. Yes, he's leaving us. I think we're all fucking fully aware of that. And, has he been absolutely brilliant for us? No. Has he been good in patches? Yes. Would I start until the end of the season? Is he better than what we're playing with now? Yeah, I would. Forget about he's leaving us. He's got some sort of affinity to the club. I think he perhaps didn't want to leave. Perhaps he wanted to stay. We're not going to offer him the money for whatever reason. I don't think we'll find out. But, we've got to play to his strengths. We've maybe got to come up with play him in the system that suits him, play him and make it focal around him and give him say to him, come on, Aaron, get us back in the Champions League or win us the Europa League till the end of the season. He's better than what we're starting with. So let's give him a go.
I could see your logic in that. I wouldn't, just because I think we do need to start building the team to move past Aaron, but I could definitely see your thinking behind that. Kenny, what would you go for in terms of Aaron Ramsey?
He definitely changed. He definitely worked hard. He was like a most useful sort of forward-thinking player. He was trying to get us back into the game. He was trying to, create a few chances. He was working down the right hand side. Firstly with Maitland-Niles, who I thought was awful, and then he again with Bellerin, who I thought, just like that, he had a pace. But then again, he's just come back from injury, and I thought he was the most large player. He is pushing for that first team. If there's one, I am fully behind Unai Emery. But there's one thing I'll suggest. I would like Aaron Ramsey to play in a 3, and I like to a 3 in the midfield, and that means I would like to one of Guendouzi, Torreira, or Jack to get a rest. I personally prefer it to Torreira played, which means the young lad is going to have to take a break. And I think from now on to the end of the season, I want Aaron Ramsey into that midfield 3, a team with him in it. He is going to define opinion. He's probably not be that consistent. But one thing is that you can't ignore that footballing ability. And for me, that is something Unai Emery's got to work in. I know he's leaving. He's not part of your long-term plans. But one thing that Unai is that next season, you don't have to worry about him. I know you're trying to push other players, respect you 100%. But please look again at the Aaron Ramsey situation and try and fit him into the side, because I thought we could do with him. Really could do with him in terms of he's trying to get the forward line going again. And that's just my opinion. For me, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. Okay. I'd give him a 6. I thought he made an immediate impact when he came on. And fair play to Aaron. I have talked a lot of crap over him over the years, but I think he's got his future sorted now. I think he's shown by moving to Juventus as opposed to another team in the Premier League, albeit, yes, I know he couldn't technically negotiate with them until the end of the year. But I think that in itself shows that he does care about the club. He does respect the club. And fair play, he's doing something brave. He's going abroad to test his skills. And I think sorting out his future has almost allowed him to be able to now express himself. And he's almost got no pressure. So when he comes on the pitch, he plays like someone that has no pressure. And I do think he is contributing a lot by doing that. And I'll tell you what, I'd sooner have him as captain, even though he's leaving, than a Granit Xhaka who's useless or a Koscielny who's useless. I'd sooner have him as captain, to be honest, even though he is leaving. But to be honest, I thought he played pretty well, so I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to mark Bellerin just because he came on quite late, but we're going to mark Torreira. What would you give Torreira out of 10, Kenny?
For me, didn't do too badly when he came on. Tried to wrest control of midfield from West Ham, especially when Doozy was getting overrun. I thought what's happened is that when Xhaka went off, I thought they did a better job in terms of, like I said, giving our defence some sort of protection. Yeah. In an attacking sense, however, I thought that both of them were non-existent, especially when West Ham dropped off. And in that respect, I was very disappointed in terms of Lucas as well. I do feel that he should have maybe gone a few meters further up and maybe offered himself as a bit of an option, because everyone knew that from about like the 65th minute, West Ham would look to protect their lead.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's why I was very disappointed. And for me, I'll give him a 5, because for me he's a very good player. I'm very impressed with him, but offensively, I felt let down by him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, because one thing I think is when we play with 3 at the back, Torreira is normally quite good at dropping off short and giving himself as an option for the defenders to pass to. And I think that's why I don't like us playing that shape if Torreira isn't playing, because I don't think Xhaka thinks quick enough to be able to do that. And Guendouzi's still a young kid. He's still trying to learn about himself, never mind the system. So to me, when Torreira plays in that system, because I think he's very quick thinking, sometimes he does make the odd error here and there, particularly when he plays tired. But I thought yesterday I was a bit surprised that he didn't drop off a little bit more, offer himself as more of an option. Having said that, I did think we looked a little bit better defensively. So I'll give him a 5. I think a 5 is a fair mark actually for him. Sam, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I just totally agree with what you've both been saying. To be fair, I'd give him a 5. I thought he came on and tried to impose himself on the game, tried to get himself stuck in and get himself about. But, it's difficult to come into a game and try and dominate the midfield when the other two are playing so well and have had 60-odd minutes to get into it and really, full steam ahead, and you're trying to play catch up a little bit. So, yeah, He only did what he could do yesterday. I think I was absolutely gobsmacked he didn't start. To be honest, I think yes, he has looked tired in the past couple of weeks, but that would have been a perfect game to play him in yesterday to try and get his momentum build up. Because we've got some absolutely massive games coming up. Then the next 3 or 4 games, or the next 4 or 5 games for us will basically define our complete season. I think. Where we're going to finish, what we're going to do in the cups and everything, and how we're going to get on for the rest of the year, really. So maybe he was resting him for that for a certain reason. Maybe he wasn't, but he did what he can. He did what he could, mate, to be fair. So, yeah, 5 for me.
Yeah, okay. And last but not least, before we wrap things up, thank you to everybody who has been watching us tonight. I've had over 200 people at one point. Thank you. Don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe button for me. Let's go with Unai Emery. For me, you know what? Let me let you guys talk about Unai Emery. Kenny Ken, what would you give Unai Emery out of 10?
It's a very difficult one because when I'm looking at a team, and I looked at the game against West Ham, I looked at previous games as well. I see a tired team. I see, you know what I mean? And one of the things I'll have to ask you, I look at his training sessions, although I'm not there. And in the beginning of the season, we've shown a lot of energy, especially like getting in amongst the road, doing our little sprints. And in the second half, teams were very difficult to live with us. That team looked a bit tired yesterday. I mean, is he overtraining them? Should he be relaxing his training sessions, especially at this time of the month where they're having game after game after game? And in terms of his selection, I haven't got a problem with leaving out Torreira for the reasons I mentioned before. In terms of that, because I generally believe that until we get all our players fit, Unai Emery is going to have to get all these balls and get a few pegs around a few round holes. The fact of the matter is, if Bellerin's not fit, he's playing Maitland-Niles. Yes, he could have taken him off a bit earlier. That's where I could have criticised him because I do think that Bellerin could have given us some more. But again, how fit is Bellerin? How match fit is Bellerin? Because if he was match fit and he's really raring to go, he would have played yesterday. So So can we really blame Unai Emery for the situation by not bringing Bellerin earlier on, even though Maitland-Niles because we don't know what the situation with Bellerin. We look at the situation again about playing Iwobi. Iwobi's never let him down.
True.
We've been asking Unai Emery to play the two strikers up front. He played them up front.
True.
And look what they produce. Can he really be blamed for strikers not showing that desire?
True.
Yeah. His only criticism I could give him is not probably playing Ramsey and giving the lad a bit of a break. But in terms of yesterday, it's very hard to give him a low mark because simple reason is that side he picked should be good enough to beat West Ham. You know what I mean? He when Xhaka was awful and calamitous, he took him off. Couldn't use it no more. So that you can't slag him off for that because that was a good decision.
True.
You know what I mean? So you're criticising him after the event. I know people are going to criticise him for not playing Mesut Ozil. Again, Mesut Ozil, yes, has declared himself fit publicly. I don't reason why he should do that because I think that's disrespectful to your manager and to your teammates by declaring yourself fit. Because if you're declaring yourself fit, you're saying and you're doing it on your social media, you are creating a situation where it's the fans against Unai Emery. Someone should have a word with Mesut Ozil not to do that. Because simple reason is that Unai Emery decides whether you play or not you. But in terms of saying that, I'll give him a 6. Because really and truly, you look at the context of the game, you look at what he's had in the back to the injuries, you can't criticise a manager for doing what you want him to do and taking off the player that should have been taken off. He's playing badly. He has reacted. The players let him down yesterday. Unai Emery's not at fault there. The players are.
Okay. Sam, what about you?
Do you know what? I'd give him a 7, to be honest with you, because I don't think he did anything really wrong. I think he picked the right team to beat West Ham. I think he made the right substitutions. He picked a side that was capable, should I say, of beating West Ham. He made right substitutions. Players that were playing pretty poorly, he took off. He sort of tried to change it. I thought he'd done all right. I think the players completely let him down yesterday. One thing I will say, we've got to get behind this manager. Every single person, we've all got to get behind him. Whether we think he's making the right decisions, wrong decisions, we've really got to get behind this team, this squad, this players. Anything that he does, if he gets rid of fanboys, king of kings, if he gets rid of him, if he drops him, if he wants to get rid of fucking Leno, whoever, we've got to get behind him. We've got to trust him. I don't think we can get ourselves into a situation again where the fan base was so split, and I feel as if we're going back down that route again. I think
100%.
some of his decisions are being questioned at this early stage. You know, I think as Arsenal fans, we are bloody impatient because we've had to endure such a long period of shit when the manager should have probably gone 3 or 4 years ago, and we would have probably been more 3 or 4 years more in front of where we are now. One thing I would say is the previous manager's last year, 18 months, has caused more damage to where we are right now than the previous 6 he was pissing about for. I think he's done real damage to us and it's put us back really far. You know, I think a lot of what's happened is his fault. He did have complete control of the club. He made all the decisions, whether people want to believe that or not. I think we all know that he did. Wages, everything he controlled. But I just think we need to get behind the manager, every man and his dog, Arsenal fans, top to bottom, across the world. We need to get behind him. We need to support him and we need to show him that we're behind the team no matter what. And for that reason, I'll give him a 7 for yesterday because I think he wasn't brilliant. He didn't change the game by bringing his subs on, but what I think he could do, he made the right calls.
I must admit, I even though despite my mark, I agree with a lot of what both of you have said. And in a way, big shout out to him because I know he's in the chat room at the moment. I agree with what Claude said as well. I know.
Hello, mate.
I know he's saying that he feels that the manager is limited, but I wouldn't go as far as to say limited. I do think that Emre is a bit of a, this is the manager we're getting until we can get the special manager, the Juventus type managers or the.
Sorry. Go. Why can't Emery be that special manager?
I don't think there's any reason why he can't.
Because
we've got to give him time. We've got to give him time. Klopp, Guardiola, whoever's been in and took over a massive job beforehand. Forget about Man United because they can spend the money and churn over managers like there's no tomorrow, so it doesn't matter to them. But all these other teams, they've given their managers plenty of time. How do we know he's not special? He's inherited. He's inherited, in my opinion, a fucking a shambles.
Don't get me wrong. When I say what I'm saying, this is what I was trying to temper it. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying I don't think he'll get there. I think there's every opportunity he'll get there. But I think, in my opinion, given the fact that he's had only a 2-year contract, he's been given a job of firefighting, as you said yourself, Sam, this mess. And I feel like if we're going to abandon that plan now, after 6 months and people are already calling for his head because he's simply working with the shit that we've been left with. I think slowly but it's going to take a long time to get 22 years of a mentality out of a club. It's going to take a long time. A long time.
God, Pep would struggle with this team. Pep would struggle.
He
would.
As I said on AFTV yesterday, I don't think people realise how bad it is. Even me, who's been saying it's a 4-year deal, it is so bad. We're not just talking about footballing ability. We're talking about footballing mentality. 100%. It is awful. This guy has overachieved what he's got.
He has.
The games we lost last season, the fact how far we were from the top 4, not even to 5 in the league. We've like I said, with Arsene Wenger towards the end of his reign, especially in the last 2 years, did not have an identified way of playing football. All this nonsense you're hearing about, Wenger ball. Wenger ball ended a long time ago. Wenger ball ended, started when Fabregas came in the team because the football we were playing before wasn't Wenger ball, because we all know that his actual true character came out in 2005 after Vieira went, when he started to play the Tika style. That is Wenger ball. But the Wenger ball went out the window when guess who? I'll tell you when Wenger ball ended, when he bought Mesut Ozil. That's when it ended. Now that's not a criticism of Mesut Ozil, but Wenger ball was all about possession, fast movement.
Yeah.
Like I said, quick passing, shot passing, and move around. Mesut Ozil can't play. Mesut Ozil ended that by Arsenal playing a different way to accommodate a player who, let's face it, was our first plus player.
Yeah.
I just want to say as well, we're never going to get to know if this manager's limited or not if the club only can make loan signings in a transfer window when we really need to be spending. You know, the big test, the massive test will be in the summer. Who do we get rid of? Who do we keep? Who do we buy? Where we're going? What we're going to do? That will be the deciding factor of how far this manager can take us. Because if nothing changes, then I think as a massive unit, as Arsenal fans, we're going to have to start looking at who is the problem then. If we've got all this money to spend now, the FFP's sorted itself out because we can spend more money on wages, or we've got rid of players that we don't want to keep. And you know what I mean? This is going to be, I think it's a big 7-8 months ahead of us right now. Between now and this time and the new season starting is going to be realistically where we are going to be as a football club. So, you know, let's hope that we do back the manager. We all get behind him. And if we don't, God knows, we'll all be fucking in a world of bother, I think, next year if we don't make improvements and get things moving.
Good. Yeah, well said. I think that's a great place to leave it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and probably not agreed with all the marks, but if you haven't, do leave it in the comments below. Let me know what your marks for everyone have been. Guys, if you want to let the people know where they can find you, let's start with you. Where can they find you?
Well, apparently there's one guy in the chat who I've upset, and so rather than, I'm going to give you a little bit of help here. I will be at the Emirates next week. That I'll be at the game.
Whoever that
I'll be in my same seat as I am normally. So like I said, and I'll tell you one thing, right? You can buy me a drink. I don't drink, by the way, Jonathan. I actually drink cordial. So you can buy me a cordial of ice, please. And seeing that, you know, like I'm on my last legs according to you, you can buy me a packet of chips as well, Jonathan. But if you want to find me on Twitter, I am Kenny Ken 1972.
There you go.
At Kenny Ken 1972. That's where you can find me.
Okay. And Sam, where can they let the people know?
Find me on Twitter, Hero of Football.
Yeah, there you go. And both of the links to their Twitters will be in the description below, as will mine at Colossal Chig. That's CHIG. That's to Lewis. He always calls me Sig for some reason. It's Chig. You forget the H, Lewis. So yes, Chig, CHIG. You could also follow me on Instagram, Gooner_Eagle_I #1. And you can also follow me on Patreon. I'm starting to put loads of shows on Patreon. You can follow me on there. You could just subscribe for $5 on there, putting all sorts of shows on there, particularly over the course of the next week, because there is no Arsenal game. So I can just record videos. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to let you get on with Tom's show, which I know starts at 9. So go and stop now and go to the Gooner Talk and watch Lee Gunner and Lee Judges, I think, is on the show. So go check that out. It should be a fun show. And we're out of here, people. So take care. Peace.